Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian. I'm here again at the Rock Island Auction House taking a look at some of the guns that they'll be selling in the upcoming September 2015 premiere auction. What I'm taking a look at specifically today are a pair of Ithaca Auto Burglars. These were short-barreled shotguns, short-barreled shotgun pistols to be specific. These were introduced first in 1922. Of course, by the Ithaca Gun Company. They took one of their existing side-by-side shotgun actions and made it into this somewhat different form. Now, this was before the passage of the National Firearms Act, so there were no legal restrictions on a gun like this, which we do have today, and frankly, that's why these things are not common and are collectible. Why don't I bring the camera back here right off the bat, give you guys a closer look at these two. So there are two different versions of this gun here, as you can see. These were made from 1922 until 1934. This guy, with the obvious spur on the grip, was made from 1922 to 1926. Now, if you look closely, you'll also notice some subtle differences in the receiver profiles. Well, in 26, Ithaca made some improvements to their side-by-side shotgun action, and at the same time, they decided to change the style of the grip. So these were made until 26, then these were made from 1926 until 1934, when these guns went out of production entirely. So let's start by taking a closer look at this little guy. The whole point here of this spur was to ensure that your hand stayed low down on the grip of the gun rather than sliding up. If you took a typical stock shotgun and just cut the buttstock off into a hand grip, you would end up with a shallow curve up here, and when you fired it, your hand would ride up into the lever, and that would be painful and very unpleasant. So the idea of this spur was keep your hand down here. This is not going to be a particularly comfortable gun to shoot. This is not for the average milquetoast. Most of these were made in 20 gauge, in fact, directly because anything bigger is really quite unpleasant to shoot in a gun like this. You could special order other calibers though. There are 28 gauge ones in existence, 410s, and also even at least a couple 12 gauge ones. I have seen pictures of a 12 gauge Auto Burglar. I should point out the name Auto Burglar comes from the two primary anticipated uses of this. This was for home defense and defense in your car. It was a nice compact firearm but very hard hitting. Stash this by the seat or in the glove box or on your bedside table, and would not be a welcome surprise to any intruder or carjacker. Remember, this is in the days before there was a highway patrol. Highwaymen really actually were a real thing on roadways in the 1920s, and some of the reason that we have famous gangland bandits from this area was because there wasn't really any police coordination between jurisdictions. So if you're out on the road between cities, you know, you're actually at risk for being carjacked or robbed, and that was the purpose of a gun like this. Now, these weren't cheap. List price for these was 40 clams, and only about 4,500 were made between the two different models as a result. You really had to kind of know your onions to be interested in a high-end defensive gun like this one. Now, like I said, in 26 they changed the style, and they went to this. Frankly, this thing looks, I think, horribly ugly, but it is, again, it's a purpose-driven design. And the idea is we actually have a very slight forward rake to the handle that, again, prevents your hand from going anywhere. Now, the corner on this one has a lot more material in it. It's not fragile like the spur on the early guns. This spur had a tendency to snap off under heavy use, and, well, obviously that's not a good thing. So that was part of what inspired them to change the design of the stocks here. These were all double barrel guns, or double trigger guns, 2 barrels, 2 triggers, so 1 trigger fires each barrel. Break it open, and you have extractors, but not ejectors. What ultimately caused the end of these guns on the market was the passage of the National Firearms Act. In 1934, that passed. It placed these in a new legally recognized category. These actually legally are any other weapons, which is sort of a catch-all phrase that includes smoothbore pistols. So because the barrels are short and there is no shoulder stock, this is considered an any other weapon. Today, the transfer tax on these through the National Firearms Act is $5. But that was a change that was made in the 1960s. When the NFA originally passed, the tax to purchase or sell one of these guns was $200. Compare that to the $40 original price tag, and I think you can see why Ithaca simply stopped bothering to manufacture these. $200 was many, many times more than the value of this gun, which frankly was an expensive gun for what you were getting in the first place. Price going from $40 to $240, forget it. No one was going to buy these legally. If people wanted these, they would simply take an existing gun, cut the stock off in a not quite as effective of a manner, and chop the barrels down with a hacksaw and be done with it. Well, thanks for watching, folks, but I have to go see a man about a dog. So if you'd like to add either of these guns to your own personal collection, and you've got the simoleons to do it, well, check the link in the text description below. That'll take you over to Rock Island's catalog pages, one each, for these guns. You can take a look at their pictures, their descriptions, and if you just can't live without them, you can set up an account and place a bid online, or come here to Rock Island in person to participate in the auction. Thanks for watching.